This is the Noise Rene mk2, and this video is to highlight some of the issues I've been having with it. This is my second unit I've tried. The first one, the issues were so bad that it became unusable. Unusable if you want to use the deeper functions of the unit, to just use the X, Y and C channels in a single state. I'm assuming that you know all the jargon and terminology that goes with this unit. This is just to highlight some what I think are probably bugs. If you just use X, Y and C, patch in from the gate and pitch on these channels and twiddle the knobs a bit and maybe quantize them, you get some brilliant results. No problem there, but the problems come for me anyway when I start using different states and start trying to implement some of the deeper features which are what make this module for me. There's three at least that I'm going to highlight here. The first is with latch programming, which is if you know the melody that you want to program in, rather than to allow Rene to kind of come up with melodies experimentally. If you know what you want to program in, then the best way seems to be to use latch mode. So if I play the melody that I've already programmed in, and then I'll attempt to reprogram some of it. I'll take this out for now. So that's actually part 4 of a 4-part sequence, one on each state. So it's number 4. Now, if I want to change this sequence, the notes, then if I hit X again, we've entered latch mode. So there's the tune. Oh, look what's happened. Now normally when you hit these buttons, the corresponding knob plays the note, but now it's got stuck on 8, 9, 10, 11, and no matter which one I hit, it's not only the light's not changing, and the note that's coming out is note number 11. Now if I turn that off, note number 11 off, now it's working again. And then it's stuck again. So I have to switch that off again to make it carry on working. Every time I power the unit up, this unit so far, this has happened, but it's not always on the same location. It seems to be on different locations each time. It's quite random. So that's the first problem. Now you can work with that, but if I've got a melody in my head and I'm doing this, which it's great for, pick the right note, go on to the next note, I can follow that in my head, but as soon as it starts sticking, the melody goes and I'm confused about where I am, and I have to start again. I have to start from the beginning. It's a bit annoying. So if I just program back what we had. Okay, switch all those off, come out of latch mode. That's the first issue. This is the second unit I've had. The first one, what I was finding was that even coming out of latch mode and going into, as we are now, a sort of normal mode, playing the sequence and turning the knobs wasn't having any effect unless I happened to turn the knob as the sequence passed over that step as it was playing. Then it would sometimes work and sometimes not, but other times it was not working at all. But I can't demonstrate that. That was the other unit I had, which I've returned. Next, I'll show the 4-part sequence I've got and the way that I wanted to change the snake patterns, and also changing, and also an issue with when it changes state patterns, sometimes it fires a gate even when there's no gate present on that step. So if this is what I'm patching here, is into Zmod is the same as what's in Xmod. So let's have a look what we've got on. If we go to the function page, I've got Xmod is resetting the sequence because my sequence only has 11 notes in it, and then I want it to reset, so it's resetting each time. And it's also, this isn't going to be used yet because I haven't plugged anything into XCV, but I'm also going to be using CV to control the snake mode. Now, each time it goes through the sequence, not only is it resetting to step 1 within that sequence, it's also going to jump on to the next state. So I'll just show you what I mean. Oh, now here we go. Here's now something's funny's gone here. The notes have changed. I haven't. Now I've yes. Let's see. The only possible explanation for this, which would be within what it's supposed to do, is if I'm in M-paste mode, which I'm not. There's no. So what's happened? Since this has happened sporadically, and luckily for me, it's happened while I'm filming. Although I haven't played the sequence for you before, so it's not proving anything. But let's start again. Where are we? I'm just going to stop that there because I want to synchronize my gate input with the whole sequence. So start again. Right, that note was wrong on the first one and the second one. That's okay. That's okay. So if I'd done that first, I could have avoided repeating myself. If we go back into latch mode, first right, I'm on the first sequence. See, I know this tune back to front, you don't, but trust me, that note's changed. If I go to latch mode, reprogram it so it's now that. That's stuck again, look. Was that hitting 4 then made it go on to 5? I didn't even hit 5 and it went on to 5. What's going on here? And that's off as well. It's not happened before. Stuck. Yeah, see, it's not a nice workflow going on with the latch. There's issues just cropping up left, right and centre really. Hold on, let's take those off. Right, where was I? Snake. So yeah, I was explaining that the Xmod and the Zmod both have a gate that triggers at the beginning of each of these 11 note cycles. There's a bit of redundancy going on because I've got the fun mod reset, which is resetting the sequence to the beginning, which means that without the Zmod, it means it goes back to the beginning each time. So that works fine. The Zmod is I'm just gonna the Z mod is stepping into the next state each time. So if we go into this, we can see first state, second state, third state. So not only is it resetting, but it's changing state as well. And when it changes state, if we go to the global settings, it's also resetting. So it's resetting twice. Now, there's some redundancy here going on, but it doesn't matter whether I take that off. It doesn't make any difference because it's resetting anyway. I was going to talk about the snake first, but I've now started talking about another problem, which is if we look at this second one. Now one of the notes has changed again. It did it again. This is. I see. I'm going to keep going from tangent, so I'm just going to live with that wrong note. But the thing about this sequence here, if we go back to, I'm probably going to end all this waffling out. Right. If we go back to looking at the gates of this sequence. Now, I have to get this synced up. Now, right, okay, here we go. Now we're looking at gates, and it's going to be changing states. So these are going to represent the gates of the state currently playing. So here we go. The first one, there's a gate on step 1. The second one, there isn't. Third one, there isn't. Fourth one, there isn't. Back to the first one, comes on. But listen to the second state. It's playing a gate there. Doesn't on the third. Doesn't on the fourth. So third and fourth are working right. So it's playing a gate there, but not on the other ones. So it's behaving itself some of the time. Now, I've been through in my mind various different reasons for this. If we look at the first state, you might think that, let's have a look. Right, because this has got a gate on 1, then when it goes to the second state, maybe it's somehow playing this number 1 of the first state before it changes. Now, the gate I've got coming in for this, the X mod and the Z mod, which changes the state and resets. I've got control over this. I can make it slightly late and slightly early by micro amounts on the BeatStep Pro. And I've experimented with this. If I go early, it messes up the whole sequence. If I go late, it doesn't make any difference. I've tried every combination, and and also the combination that I was speaking of between the Z reset and the Fun mod reset. I've tried. Currently, they're on both. Let's just get this going again. So I have to get it in sync either time. Alright, here we go. Now, if we go to Fun mod, I can turn the reset off. Right, this is with the okay, if I just go to right, if I do an M paste here, turn it off for all of them, so it's going to stay off now for all of them. Now it's completely messed it up because I've got no reset on Fun mod, and if I go to the global settings, I've got no reset here. If I just have the Z reset, so every time it changes state, it resets the sequence. Now it's working fine. But listen to the gate on 2. It's still doing it, so it's still sending out a spurious gate there. If I take that off and go to Fun mod reset, it's still sending the spurious gate in. Right, here's the first sequence, second sequence coming up. So it's still sending that spurious gate. So I've tried one and the other. I could try both again just to show. If I put Z reset and fun mod reset, it's still sending out that spurious gate. So there's the first sequence, second one coming up. So it's still, there's no way I can get rid of that gate. I've tried using different changing access to try and make it go away. I can't make it go away. It's just there. I'm stuck. I've got to live with that. The problem I've been having with snake mode is controlling it, trying to control it with a CV going into XCV. This CV I had coming from a sequencer that was sent a trigger every round of 4 sequences that you've been listening to. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a keyboard. And this is the CV from the keyboard sent to an oscillator. I've multed it to the oscillator as well as to XCV, so there can be no doubt that the CV coming in is what it should be. It's a continuous CV. If I unplug this CV from the oscillator, it reverts back to its default pitch. So the CV is indicating, the pitch is indicating the voltage on this cable coming into XCV. So annoying as it is, it's serving a function. I'll turn it down a bit. Now I'm in fun page for the X channel, and here we've got fun CV snake, so I'm going to turn that on, and you might have heard a note there. Changing snake mode sends a gate out. This is regardless of whether or not there is a gate on the step, the current step. You can turn the gate off of the current step, but still changing the snake mode will send a CV out. I'm not saying that's a bug, it's just a quirky behaviour which gets in the way if you know exactly what you want to do, and is fine if you're just experimenting and allowing Rene to give you what it wants to give you. Let's check that. Let's play the sequence and go to snake mode. Now let's just stop the sequence again. As you can see, the keyboard changes the snake mode. So it's currently the CV saying play snake mode 1. So off we go. Now if I hit a higher note on the keyboard, it'll be asking the sequence to play a different snake mode. It flashed very briefly, I don't know if you saw that, but it went back to number 1 again. And there it is. So for one of the sequences it's working, but when it changes state it seems to sort of forget about the XCV. Now you might be saying, oh well, I've only put snake mode on for one. I'll just turn that off for a second. For one, let's look. For one of the sequences, look, this isn't even on for there, so let's just do a mesh paste and turn snake on for all of the sequences and turn mesh paste off again. Oops. Now if we stay on the fun page, play the sequence, snake is staying on. So for all of the 4 sequences, snake CV is enabled, but as you can hear, if we go to snake page, that fourth sequence in the round is responding to this CV. There it is. And it goes back to 1. So if I change that to it didn't change the snake mode. The light changed, and it's even going back to 3 there. Oh no, it's doing 4 on that one. It seems to kind of remember when the snake mode XCV changed, but then doesn't still respond to the CV when it doesn't change across states. That's the summing up of the problem. When the states change, the XCV seems to get ignored for the snake. And I also found a similar thing happening with location when the CV controls the location. Also, when you change states, it seems to sort of switch off its response to the XCV. So that's that. So I can't control the snake modes properly how I want to. The latch programming isn't working because the knobs are not responding. Well, it is working, but it's a bit annoying. If I've got a melody in my head, I can't. I can live with it, but I'd really want a firmware upgrade at some point if I was going to keep the unit. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the unit because there's so many things wrong with it. I can't find any information about any firmware. Just doesn't seem to be mentioned anywhere on the Make Noise website or anywhere on the internet. I can't find any mention of firmware upgrades or firmware versions for this Rene or the classic Rene version 1. So perhaps they're never going to do a firmware upgrade. Perhaps there's not the facility to upgrade the firmware on these modules, in which case we're stuck with this. Not only are we stuck with this, but it seems that the problems can get worse. The first unit that I had, I can't guarantee it, but they seem to get worse. The problems, definitely the knobs, the way the knobs were not responding, you turn them and nothing would happen, that definitely got worse. I'm sure I'd have noticed that at the beginning. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was just getting to know the unit and getting to know its problems more and more. And then there's the gate. Sending a gate out on a step 1, when there is gate has been disabled on that step, which happens, let's look. So this is now, if we go to, it's doing it right now. There's no gate on step 1, but if we change states as the sequence is running, it plays a gate on step 1 of the second sequence again. So it's something to do with changing states. Now, if I take this, let's see what happens if I take the XCV out now. So, oh look, so the snake pattern is changing all over the place now. The CV's gone, so it kind of remembers what the CV was for the snake pattern. So if I go to put them all back to 1 again. Now with the first unit I had, I can't demonstrate here, what would happen after I'd been using the XCV in this way, no matter what I did to try and program the snake back to 1, it would suddenly jump all over the place, sometimes flickering really fast, all over the place, changing different snakes. There's no CV going in to control it. I don't know what was happening there, but that was one of the final straws that made me return the unit. Anyway, that's the video on my issues I'll be having with Rene 2.